Hello and welcome to section 3.9. We're going to start this portion of our studies with understanding how we know when chemical reactions occur. So if you will recall what a chemical reaction is. A chemical reaction is when a bond is created and or broken. So when this happens, there's a rearrangement of the way in which the atoms are grouped. And remember, bonds are simply the sharing of electrons or the transfer of electrons between atoms. So here, we have CH4 methane, right? We have 4 bonds. Carbon is bonding with hydrogen in 4 places around it. And when we go from methane to carbon dioxide, these bonds around methane are being broken, and they're being replaced with new bonds. Bonds between carbon and oxygen. Additionally, we have the bonds between 2 oxygens being broken, and those are being replaced with bonds of hydrogen to the oxygen. Those are examples of chemical reactions. Now, how do we know when a chemical reaction occurs? So, here are just a few evidences that a chemical reaction has occurred. First, changes in color. You know, for example, if you see something that looks like this, that's a lot of rust. That rust is a chemical reaction, and the color has definitely changed from a shiny metal color that was painted into this rust flaky color. Also, if you look at this girl has dyed her hair with bleach, and here it's brown. We have a color change right here. That's an example of a chemical reaction. Okay, another clue that a chemical reaction has occurred would be when a solid forms. For example, in this situation where we have 2 liquid solutions, we're mixing them together. A solution of sodium dichromate here is being poured into this solution of lead nitrate, and the result is not only a solution, it's a solid. We get a solid that is forming between those solutions. That is not to be confused with a change of state. For example, if we put water into the freezer and we get ice cubes, that's a change of state. That's not what we're talking about. A chemical reaction is occurring when we are mixing 2 substances together and they're both in liquid form, and we get a solid precipitate or a solid that is forming between the reaction of the 2, then we know that a chemical reaction has occurred. Here's another evidence, bubbles forming. When we drop this piece of solid calcium metal into a beaker with water, bubbles of hydrogen gas are given off. It's a chemical reaction that's occurring. Bonds are being broken and formed. Here's one more clue that a chemical reaction has occurred if we see heat and or flame being produced, or if heat is absorbed. An example, obviously, is a Bunsen burner here. We have methane gas reacting with oxygen. It produces a flame. There is a chemical reaction that is happening here. Bonds are being created and destroyed. So if you are interested in advanced proficiency, come up with some of your own examples. Find out what kinds of chemicals react together, what is produced, and by what visible mechanism you can tell that a reaction has occurred.